Welcome to VMware Explore 2022 with the CTO Advisor Studio. Come on in and consume some content.
All right, Melissa, I'll take it from here. Welcome to VMware Explore 2022. We are super excited. This is day one of our coverage of VMware Explore 2022. We're back. It's been 3 years since the CTO Advisor has been at a VMware, VMworld, VMware Explorer, whatever you want to call it. It is where the conversation around infrastructure IT happens. It is the premier conference, and we're, for the first time ever, on the show floor. We have the CTO Advisor flying cloud, and appropriately, I have one of my most engaging friends
On Twitter.
on Twitter, Sarbjeet Johal. Sarbjeet, we've had classic conversations.
Yes.
Like,
All the
you
time.
are an independent analyst, you have years of experience doing data center migrations, application development. You've worked for some of the biggest brands in the space, Rackspace, VMware, etc. So you've seen a lot of transition.
Yep.
We talk a lot about application modernization on Twitter, and I think this is a great opportunity to make it real for the VMware customer. Customers coming out of VMware, VM-centric application models, needing to move to public cloud en masse. What are the factors customers need to consider as they're doing not data center to data center migrations, but data center to cloud migrations?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that distinction at the end, the data center to data center versus data center to cloud. But in many ways, there's a lot more similarities. There is a perception out there that the data center to data center migrations are a lot different than data center to cloud migrations, but I think it's like 60 to 70% same thing. You have to vacate your data center if you go from one data center to other, or from data center to cloud. You have to shut down these applications, you have to find the dependencies, you have to understand how these applications are integrated with each other, what are the dependencies, and criticality of the application needs to be understood. The few things which change actually are the licensing of the operating system, the licensing of the application, because many times the cloud providers will let you bring your own license if you're already in contract with OS vendors and or application vendors, and many times they don't. Not only the software licenses, but also the support contracts. Sometimes they can transfer as is, sometimes they cannot. So you have to change those things when you move, and there's so many other things you have to consider. Yeah.
So let's focus in on licensing for a little bit. You know, we hear the joke about Oracle licensing, even Microsoft licensing from time to time.
Yeah.
Is that a consideration though when you're picking kind of a cloud? Like, if I'm a big Oracle shop,
Yeah.
is it more advantageous for me to look at an Oracle cloud infrastructure versus a AWS or a Microsoft Azure?
Actually, I don't think it's your choice. It is the deal is sweetened by the vendor. So vendor will give you better pricing if you are sitting in their cloud. It's, that's the nature of the game they play, right? And many times they will give you huge discount on their cloud when you're consuming their non-cloud portfolio, and or vice versa. So they can sweeten the deal for you, like a total deal, if you will. So your number one software vendor / applications vendor, right? If they have their native cloud, it's very tempting to go there with all your applications. Having said that, we know that top 3 cloud providers have been innovating at a much higher pace than the rest of the stack, if you will, or rest of the pack, not stack. Number 4 to number 10, right? So there's a term I'm trying to get that popularized. That's the feature proximity. So when you are doing certain kind of workloads, you need certain kind of compute and storage and networking and network slicing and all that stuff, programmable networks and all that stuff, right? So you can have infrastructure as code. On top of that, now you need to do data science and the sort of voice recognition and or NLP and stuff like that. You need those features as well. So the tier 2 cloud providers don't have those bells and whistles. So for that reason, most of the people gravitate towards top 3 cloud providers.
So let's dig into this feature proximity. I like this concept. If I'm thinking price first versus feature first, where am I missing out on opportunity for that transformation? If I'm thinking price, like first, wow, Microsoft or Oracle is giving me such a sweet deal on my database licensing, but that cloud doesn't necessarily have the features that I need to transform my business. What am I missing out on?
Yeah, I mean, like most of the tech spend, I said most, a big majority of that is future-proofing its investments. It's not the spend. So there's the distinction between like investment versus just expenses. So you are making investment into future. You are building your new, stronger platforms. You will build on top of that in future, right? So if a tech leader thinks of this spend, if you will, as the investment, they are gravitating more towards futuristic platforms. If they are more like operational in nature, they have that background, they focus more on operations only. So, for example, some CIOs come from that background, some CIOs come from the dev background, right? And some CIOs come from business background as well, right? So, I think it matters based on the leaders, or many leaders there, right? Their sort of personalities and what they value, as well as what vertical you are in, and so many other factors are there.
So you're hitting such a key spot, especially for this community, this VMware community, because we're typically operators, we're incentivized to cut costs, to control costs, not necessarily make that investment that you're talking about making. So that mind shift has to happen so that we're not necessarily thinking about, well, where do I best optimize my spend versus how do I best enable my developers to get the feature in proximity to the features that they want.
Yes, exactly.
What conversations should I be having with my developers to discover kind of what features and what value they're looking to extract from the infrastructure in the cloud?
Yeah, I think the main thing is what developers love is, number one, is that their employability, right? Developers are the kind of creatures, I call them, in a nicer way, that they want to be on the cutting edge all the time. So they want to build their resumes, right? And that's what keeps them motivated and marketed well. So they want to be on the cutting edge, that's number one. Number two is that I usually say that we have been on the miniaturization sort of journey all along on the hardware side as well as the software side. So going from server to VM to containers, now serverless. So having all those flavors of compute is very important for developers, I believe. And on top of that, cooking up the recipes, which are not the application recipe in the coding from that point of view, but the recipe of the infrastructure as code. Like what language do you use? Do you use Terraform? Do you use Ansible? You have to pick the platform what your developers are gravitating towards. And many times, like, you have to, if you're a new shop or something, or you want to do some new initiative, and if you're starting from scratch, you have to find out, okay, which language you pick for infrastructure as code and stuff like that. So there's so many factors. Basically, it boils down to your current velocity of your developers, like how fast they are moving, how many you have in-house. The one gripe I have with the industry pundits and analysts is, I'm new to this, by the way, so I end up criticizing.
You're doing a great job at it.
I don't know. So is that we end up sort of mushing up the software which is developed in-house and the software which we get from the vendors
The COTS software.
together.
Right.
Yeah. We put it together in one bucket. No, don't do that. We have to analyze what we build in-house. Of course, I understand that the COTS applications need integration. For that, you need development as well, right? So, but still, you have to keep these two things separate. You have to understand what is the demarcation or percentage of spend going to the COTS application, what is going towards in-house development, and who is using those applications which are being developed in-house. Is it your partners? Is it your employees? Is it, the whole customer base? So based on that, you want to take those steps. Some things are small in scale, some are big, right?
So Sarbjeet, we need to have you on a second time to talk about that follow-on conversation, which is the skills gravity, which is what you talk about consistently. How does that create like a skills gravity challenge?
Yeah.
And scarcity challenge across the industry, and how should CIOs, CTOs talk about that challenge? But we'll save that conversation for another day. You're watching coverage of VMware Explore 2022, the CTO Advisor Studios. Stay tuned all week. We're going to have conversations with CEOs, CTOs, industry analysts, cloud architects. This is where the technical conversation happens. You want to learn more about the CTO Advisor? Follow us on the web, thectoadvisor.com/projects to see our research. You want to learn more about Sarbjeet? Twitter handles below. Talk to you next CTO Advisor interview.